Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. It has been 2.5 years since I have had this property and this mobile home. My tiny house has been parked on a foundation that I had poured before I got here. And little did I know that I was going to be moving into this mobile home and living here because I had a bunch of transport issues. I also did not know I was going to be putting my tiny house on Airbnb, but that is the current situation. The tiny house was put on Airbnb about a year ago, and the reason being was because it was just sitting there while I was living in this mobile home. Part of my reason for living in the mobile home is because I wanted to remodel the whole thing to become my future community house and guest house. So once I have about 4 or 5 more rentals built on my property, then I'll be moving back into the tiny house, and this will become the community house slash guest house. I didn't want it to be the way it was when I bought it. It was kind of outdated, 20 years. It had like dark green carpet in it and wallpaper that I didn't like. So during this time of me not being in my tiny house, I wanted to remodel this whole thing just so it can be prepared for when it happens. I'm going to be taking you through this house, the mobile home, and showing you all of my remodeling methods and everything that I've done to each room to remodel it, and plans for the future about stuff that I haven't remodeled yet. So there are a few things that I still have yet to do, but for the most part, this entire mobile home has been remodeled. So let's get started. Okay, we are going to start with the mobile home living room. Now, one of the reasons why I did this first is because I needed a place to work, and I wanted to build a building to house my work stuff. But instead, this mobile home was here, so I thought to turn this living room into my workplace. I have 4 times the room that I did in my tiny house working in this office. And I'm here every day doing my work with the herbal business and on my computer promoting. So this was the first room that needed to be done. Now, when I first got here and none of it was done, my thoughts were to either hire somebody to remodel the entire house, or I could do it myself. So I chose to do it myself. I thought, you know, it shouldn't be too hard laying down peel and stick flooring, which is what I opted for, and it's probably not hard to paint, and add a few rugs and whatnot to make it more of an office type space. So the first thing I did decide to tackle in this mobile home was painting the walls inside the living room. I did this so that I didn't have to buy any kind of tarp to put on the flooring to protect the flooring, just in case I put the flooring down first. And in this way, the paint can drop onto the carpet, which I would have been ripping out later on anyway. After I painted the walls, I also painted the ceiling. A lot of this got 3 coats, and as I said before, I used the primer, so it was just 3 coats of primer. And then I had to do the trim. So I decided to go with gray and teal for my office and most of the mobile home as the aesthetics and the decor. And I painted the trim gray, and I painted the top trim a lighter gray so that it could offset each other. Then the next step was to put down the flooring. I did go to Lowe's for this and got a bunch of hardwood flooring. It was peel and stick. This was the easiest option for me, so I got like a rustic type flooring and started ripping up the carpet. Someone was here, I don't know if it was a service person, but they taught me how to cut along the edge of the walls to get the carpet up, because all of that is stapled down. So I did have to deal with a lot of staples, and there was even mold that I found under here, and when the inspection went through, he couldn't get under the carpet to even see if there was mold problems. So this only occurred after I started remodeling. And after I did the flooring, I decided to start shopping for the teal things that I would need in here, such as rugs and the sheer curtains that I bought, even sheer curtains for the front sliding doors. So this was making my office into a workspace. Personally, I think the flooring was my favorite part to do. I really liked how I just like how I put down the pattern. I didn't know what I was doing, so I kind of just did what I thought I was supposed to do, which was cut each one of them and offset each of the pieces. Later on, come to find out, I could have just laid them all out fully, but at the end just cut the one and use that piece in the front. So I did learn a couple things after I started posting my progress on the remodel. Of course, after remodeling the living room, I then went to the tiny house and brought all of the things that I needed to work with in here. This included the cabinets on the walls and the cabinets against the walls on the floor. And then I had an empty space in the tiny house, which was going to become my living room. So because all of those things were in here now, I could start filling them with all of the work stuff that I had in my tiny house. I was able to transfer everything over and start working from the mobile home because I now have an office. Fast forward to today, and I have RV guests that rent from Harvest Hosts. They stay here and they come into this mobile home office and they shop. They spend their $20 in exchange for staying in one of my spots, but this office has come in handy since then and for that, so I'm really glad that that worked out. Because there's only so much space in this office and I had a bunch of stuff, I sell over 450 items. I did utilize the space on the walls vertically in this mobile home, as well as when I was living in the tiny house, I had to build vertically as well, put things on the wall because there wasn't much horizontal space. There wasn't many shelves that I could put things on that weren't already occupied. So now with this setup, there is a little bit more floor space, but I'm still utilizing the walls just for more shelving. All right, the next room that I worked on, I believe, was the bathroom, because this is another room that was being utilized more often than not. I saved the 2 bedrooms for later, and I believe I also saved the kitchen for later just because they were bigger areas to work with. I did do the bathroom walls, painted those gray instead of white. I wanted each room to be the opposite color as the one before it, so it was either gray walls and white trim or white walls and gray trim. I also got a new shower curtain, new rugs, new things to put like toothbrush in and Q-tips and things like that. Put the toothpaste in there and combs and brushes or whatever. I did also buy a couple things for the wall just to make it a little bit more homey, some shelving to put some plants on, and then my bathroom was created. After all that was done, I went ahead and did the floors and even tried to etch out the bottom of the toilet. Had to try to fit that flooring around the toilet. It was kind of really hard to do because of the curvature of the toilet. So there was a lot of things that I learned during this whole remodel. And now I also ran into a mold problem in the bathroom by the toilet, which was on the floor as I was getting the old tiling up. There was a huge spot near the toilet that had like a huge mold spot underneath. I do think I put maybe mold primer down over it, and if not, I just put the flooring down over it, but cleaned it as best as I could. It wasn't too bad like the one in the living room, but because it's near a water source, there was going to be a mold issue. I also painted the cabinets inside the bathroom white, and they were primed. It was with the primer, which means there's no gloss or coating or protective cover over that, so when I hit it, it does scuff, so I'll probably be doing that again later using some type of either sealant over it or a paint that has like a sealant, a primer, and a paint all in one. Moving to the next room, I think that I did my small bedroom next because it's not being occupied. I wanted to get all of that done so that it could become a storage room for all of the stuff that I wasn't using in my tiny house. So I needed to make sure that all of that stuff wasn't sitting in there before I remodeled it, because then I'd have to move all of that stuff to remodel it. So before I moved anything in that room, I painted the walls, I got the carpet up, put the flooring down, and made sure that the whole entire room was okay for me to put stuff in. Then I was able to transfer all of my personal belongings from the tiny house into the small bedroom and have that be a place to store that stuff until I was able to move back into the tiny house. Currently, I am still trying to figure out how to utilize that room, and what I think I'm going to do is use it as a greenhouse, like a winter greenhouse. I will be putting racks in there for the winter. I'll also be putting the porch racks in there for the lemon plants, but to be able to germinate my plants for the spring, those racks will hold heat mats and lights so that it can grow inside my house. Now, because this room is 2 away from the living room, I did use the same exact flooring. I also used the same flooring in the big bedroom, but I used alternating flooring in the kitchen and bathroom. So the kitchen, bathroom, and hallway all have the same flooring, and then the living room, small bedroom, and big bedroom all have the same flooring. Okay, moving into the big bedroom. Now, when I first got here in this house, I thought it was going to be very temporary that I was in the mobile home. So I expected to move back into the tiny house where I have a full-size bed in my loft, and it's a normal bed. However, because I was going to be staying in this house temporarily, I decided to use a blow-up bed for the meantime. I didn't want to buy another bed yet because I hadn't remodeled anything. I didn't want to have to move that big bed in order to remodel, so I decided to wait until after it was remodeled to get a decent bed. That said, it took me a whole year to remodel that bedroom because I was just doing everything else, remodeling other stuff in between, so I suffered sleeping on a blow-up mattress for a whole year. And I tell you, once I remodeled that bedroom, I did the ceilings, I did the walls. We went with gray in the bedroom as well with white trim, and then I did the flooring, and the whole point was I didn't want to have to move this big old bed to do the flooring. So after I got the flooring in, the blow-up bed was out, and I finally got a real bed. Thank goodness it's looking more like a bedroom now, and because I'm not moving into my tiny house anytime soon, it did become my bedroom, but in the future it will become a guest bedroom for guests that stay, my family and friends. I might even rent it out, but the guests can also stay in here if they need to, wash their clothes, do the dishes, take a shower, do whatever they need. This will become a community house. Okay, now we move into the kitchen. One of the first things that I wanted to do in the kitchen was actually, well, I painted the walls, but one of the first things I wanted to do before even doing the flooring was paint those cabinets. I just think they were hideous cabinets. They were these light brown, I don't know if it's plywood or I don't know what kind of material that is, but it's a very thin material. I just wanted to look more farmhouse-like, so I wanted to incorporate the whites and the grays and just make it more fresh looking rather than outdated and old. Even the wallpaper, I wanted to just paint over that because it just was not a good look. The kitchen got the gray walls with the white trim, white ceilings in all of it, paint the walls gray, but I did end up using a primer to paint all of the cabinets, and eventually over time they scuffed. So I redid all of the cabinets with a paint that included a primer, a regular paint, and then a sealant. So it was like an all-in-one paint. And I ended up doing all the cabinets over again, which is fine because they scuff less now. And the sealant actually works to like stop all of the scuffs from happening. It would get dirty. I wasn't able to wash it off because it was just a primer. Now I can wash it off if it gets dirty because that sealant is a sealant. Next in the kitchen, what we did was the flooring, and I had to get a certain type of flooring that would be different than the living room flooring, and again different than the bedroom flooring. So I went with a square type of rustic tile, more like grays and browns mixed together, but ended up matching it together as best as I could and putting a runner in between. Now, along with remodeling the kitchen went all of the hardware. It was all gold hardware. Again, it was outdated for 20 years. Personally, I don't like the color gold. I prefer silver. So I decided to replace all of the gold hardware with the silver hardware. This included the knobs and the hinges. Last area we are going to talk about is the laundry area and the hallway. I decided to do these two last just because they're just not one of the main rooms. There's one more thing that I have to do in the laundry room. I want to put cabinets up there, shelving, as opposed to the open shelving that's up there right now. I do not like open shelving for the most part. If it's there, then it is, but I don't want all of that stuff to be seen. So I'm going to show you what's up there now. So this is my laundry area. I think this area would look much better with closed shelving. There'd be like gray cabinets up there, rustic cabinets, and all of that wouldn't be seen. All of that mess wouldn't be there. Now, once I do put in new shelving, this is gonna be gone, so I won't be able to hang my clothes there, but that's okay. I will just hang them up as I fold them or hang them on hangers and just put them in the closet. I don't need to put them up there. So I just want to take away that eyesore. I feel it's an eyesore, all of that laundry stuff. It seems like extra storage. I just want out of sight, out of mind. And of course, this is our hallway. I did paint the walls white. I did not do the trim yet gray, but I will eventually do that. Leading into the kitchen with the gray walls. But this is the hallway. It got the same flooring as the kitchen and the bathroom. And then of course the teal mat. I think the entire mobile home is entirely different than it was before. It seemed just like an outdated, dismal place to be. I did not like the wallpaper. I didn't like the flooring. I didn't like just all of the outdated stuff. Even that ceiling mirror fan that was in this living room, it just was not my style, was not my taste, and it just had to go. I had to fix it and make it better. And I actually really love how the mobile home looks now. I feel better. It feels more like a better living space, and once guests start to stay here, I think they'll feel the same way. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and click the notifications bell so you can receive a notification each time I post a new video, which is every Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Okay, we're gonna start with, hold on, first, because this is going to be my, don't put any of this. Okay, starting with the mobile home living room, I had to, don't put this, that would be some, and mesh ones, don't put that. Sewing my seedlings, don't put that. So I wouldn't have to transport them outside. Don't put any of this. And that leaves us, don't put that, new shower curtain, and I don't have to transport. There is one more thing that I have to, hold on. I did not want to buy another bedroom, don't put that.